Hello and welcome to today's episode of Show Me Your Hustle. Today I am interviewing Bethany from Sendspark and I cannot wait to hear your story and jump in. So with that, what are you doing? What are you working on and who are you?
Hey, Ashley. Okay, so a little bit about me. I am the founder and CEO of Sendspark, and we do personalized videos at scale for sales outreach. And kind of how I got here, both my co-founder and I were working at a different startup, a video startup, and we were just doing like everything we could to reach out and get new customers. And we're sending a lot of emails, and doing all the normal stuff. And we found that videos and emails performed so much better, right? Like the reply rates were crazy, and we were in the education space. And so like, especially in that space, like people are really personal, like they like the human connection. It goes a long way. But from my end on the marketing side, it was just so much friction to actually create these videos and send them out. And like, you don't want to be the person that's just like nagging sales to do something all of the time. So I'm like, these videos work, the conversion rates are up. Like, can you please record more? And it's like, and then my co-founder, he's a designer. We were doing all kinds of things to like make the videos look good and creating animated GIFs. And it was this whole ordeal, super effective, but super time consuming. And so, we were thinking, why can a video not be personalized like an email? With an email, you can make like an email template, have like, hey, first name, and like change different things for different people. And so we started Sendspark to do that. And like, originally we were thinking about it in terms of like layers, like you can have like different personalized attributes layered in your video. But we kind of lucked out like a year ago with all the advancements in AI. And so now we've started like cloning your voice and doing a lot more to really personalize different aspects of the video. So you can reach out and say, hey, first name, and personalize at scale. So it's kind of like a marketer's dream. Yeah.
I love it. It's like Marketo on steroids, mass emailing. Awesome. Okay. So there's your backstory, how you got there. What is your big pivot? You're running to your North Star. You and your co-founders have your plan and things change. Have you had that moment recently?
I mean, it's not so much that like there's one big massive pivot, but I feel like there's been a lot of evolutions. I mean, I think one thing that was game changing for us was really adding the AI into the videos because before we were doing layers, like we could take a video of you and make it look like you're recording on someone's website or like change different aspects. But just to be able to say, hey, first name at the beginning of the video, I think has been game changing. And like, if you look at our metrics, so also I feel like when you talk to investors, they're always like, it's not just one thing. But if you look at our metrics, like you look and there's like an inflection point, and that is when we added the AI personalization. So I'm like, that was maybe one thing. But just a lot of evolutions. And even now, like, we're going back to some of the basics. We're redoing onboarding. We're like, we're adding a lot to just like make the product, kind of better and more well-rounded. But it's more like evolution than pivoting.
Got it. That makes sense. I feel like AI has been everyone's either, oh no, pivot or embrace pivot. So it's awesome to hear when founders are like, this is helping my business, this is more sustainable, and this gave us a clearer direction. So I love that. What lesson as a founder has been the most surprising to you?
It was surprising. I mean, I think that there's things that you hear a lot as a founder, and then you like realize it's true, Like I think, like when we were getting started, I remember one of our first investors just saying like everything takes 3 times as long as you think, and I was like, well, not us, we're so fast, And now I'm like, 3 times, that's actually a very accurate estimate of how much longer it takes, but I think 3 times, you're right. So I think that's one thing. I also think just like hiring people to solve problems you are told won't work, but every now and then you believe that it will, and then you try to do that and it doesn't work. They're like, if you try to hire someone to do something that you couldn't do, and also I think the same applies for AI now. If you try to use AI for something that you can't do yourself, it's not gonna work. Like it might. I might be wrong, but it's really not going to work. But if you use AI to scale something that you are doing well, and now you can do it at a bigger scale, that's going to work really well. And so I think that that kind of goes for either, hiring people using AI or doing anything. Like, great for scale, bad for like you know, trying to do something
Unique.
that
Yeah.
you weren't able to get because it probably just wasn't meant to be, you know, like.
Right. Totally. I think that's one of the best descriptions I've heard of AI is it is not a substitute, it's an enhancement on scalability. I want to dive a little bit more on hiring as you're talking about that and the people side of it. How has that been as a founder? Like, what has hiring and the people management been? Is it surprising to you anyway, or is it what you expected?
So in terms of hiring, like we've always hired people like ourselves. We've never used a recruiter. And I wouldn't say we're like pros or anything. Like, you know, maybe we could be faster or something, but like we've gotten really great people on the team. I think one thing that surprised me is how much like our team members have taken on Sendspark as their own, like, which is really cool. Because sometimes on like on social media, you know, you see like on TikTok, people are posting like, I wouldn't do this for my boss, or like I'm gonna stay my guy. You know, you see all that, and I'm like, oh, I hope I'm not like asking too much, whatever. And so like seeing how much our team like genuinely cares about the product, customers, like building the company, like has been really cool. And I remember like the very first time I like realized that was 2 years into the company. We did a team offsite in Colombia, and it was at the time we were really short on cash. And we made a thing, like we wanted to do offsites, but like at the time I was like sweating. I'm like, this is just so much money to spend, and like we don't really have so much money, but like there's so many benefits to being in person. So we kind of like made it work. And when I got there, and it was my first time meeting a lot of team members, one person who's local to Colombia, he'd gotten like Sendspark t-shirts printed, as well as like all kinds of cool like Colombia Sendspark swag, and he paid for it himself, you know, and just like handed it out. And I was like, this is your company as much as it's mine. Like, this is so cool. So I think that, and then awesome. There's been a ton since then to just see that.
Right. So with that, how, as you're starting to scale and really grow, how are you maintaining your company culture?
I mean, it's like hard, and I think that sometimes like culture is discovered in the decisions you make more than it's intentionally set. Like, you know, there's things we do offsites. You know, do all hands, like, you know, we do some meetings, but I think that like culture really gets set when there's a kind of more about like a hard choice, and you make that choice to be like, hey, this is what this is what we stand for, and this is what we're going to do. And so that culture is like set every day. But like, sometimes I'm like, oh, we should do more like online happy hours, but everyone's in different time zones, and you don't really want more meetings. So I don't know, we just kind of figure it out.
Yeah, just that constant battle, because your entire team is remote, correct?
Yeah, we're all remote, and we're mostly in U.S. time zones, but not totally. We have some people in Europe as well.
Okay. What has been the most important lesson you've learned so far at Sendspark?
Most important lesson? I don't know. What did the last person on the podcast say? What did Chico say? Need some inspiration.
I can't remember so I sat down with Adam Robinson last week.
Okay.
I don't know if you follow him on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, the pioneer of bootstrapping. So he talked a lot about how, and you kind of touched on it too, that tech has this right now mentality. And how you were saying like things take 3 times longer than they actually do, but because it's tech and it's so fast paced and things are evolving all around you, and it's like this need to hit milestones so quickly. And I think every startup has that move fast, break things. You know, they're like, I just want to figure things out. Where he is like, the hardest lesson was learning to slow down.
Oh yeah.
And not have that mentality. It's what are the things that move fast and what are the things that take time and evolve, and being able to really pivot on those.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. Also, this is so not relevant, but I'm going to tell you something that's really funny to me, but probably no one else. My husband was in the Army for a bit, and the Army has a motto that's slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And I always, whenever that like comes up in conversation, I'll always tell him like, oh yeah, like that Marine motto. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, just to get him really upset. He's like, it's not the Marines, it's the Army, it's our motto.
Yeah.
But yeah, 100% agree.
Totally.
One thing I will say, so this kind of reminded me of like a lesson that I think I didn't know before starting Sendspark, which is the importance of momentum. And so I think sometimes it's like when you talk about, there's a lot of things you have to do to like go lean and go slow and like preserve capital. But I think that one of the most important things that startups have is momentum and just constantly getting better. And so I think that as you like kind of trade off, like especially thinking about like the bootstrapper mindset and things like that sometimes going like too slow can actually be dangerous because you need to make sure you have momentum. So you kind of want to be as capital efficient as you can be while still having momentum going up. Because if you're going to go like too slow, where like your employees went from being managers to being like, I see like people don't like moving in the opposite direction. And so, I mean, sometimes you have to do it, but if you can try to maybe go slower from the beginning to make sure you'll always have continuous momentum, that's better than going up and going down and going up again.
I like that. Just continuing. Okay. Yeah. This is one of my favorite questions. Okay. What would your childhood self think of your career?
Oh, interesting. I think she would like it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, say that again.
I feel like I have a 5-year-old and she is like, I'm going to be an astronaut. Like she is dead set that she's going to be an astronaut. I'm like, great girl, you do that. But like, what was like looking back, would your 5-year-old self have ever thought that you'd be in this place?
Well, my 5-year-old self actually wanted to be a candy taster.
I love that. That is still in your, I think you could still achieve that at some point. Like,
and I definitely have a bag of candy right here. So
okay.
I'm doing pretty well.
We'll touch on that brand after because Target just launched their own version of that. And I'm telling you, the Target dogs taste better. I don't know what it is.
Okay. Done. Yeah. I'll try it. Yeah. I love like these. They're so good. So if it can be better, great.
Yes, I'm with you on gummies. But okay, yes, candy tasting. But all jokes aside, like, did you foresee yourself ever being here?
Yeah, so it's funny. When I was 5, my dad was a lawyer and he left the law firm he was at and started his own firm when I was 5. So like growing up, like the dinner conversations were often like how to divide pay among lawyers, how to incentivize people from top schools to take jobs and things like that. So I do feel like it just kind of like normalized entrepreneurship a lot for me. It was like, when I grow up, I'll start a company. That's just what adults do. So I think that in a way, like it made a lot of sense. Like I don't think that, and also my mom was doing marketing. So I think actually if you look at me then as a 5-year-old, it's like, okay, entrepreneurship, marketing, I got a marketing startup. It fits.
I love, like the yin and yang of your childhood has now meshed in. That's really cool.
And I can still eat a lot of candy because the stress keeps your metabolism good.
Right. Like I'm going on a walk. So, if you weren't a startup CEO, what would you be doing? Or tasting candy?
Oh, yeah. If I wasn't, I mean, I just love marketing. Like that's, and not, I love like all kinds of marketing. Like I love setting up our like email automation campaigns and I was just thinking I haven't done that much like website optimization in a bit. Like I used to do that a lot before starting the company, and so I think if I could do anything, I would just do marketing all day, which is part of the reason we haven't hired a marketer, so I can still do that. But also then you kind of look and you're like, oh, this gets untouched because I'm like busy, so we should probably hire for it at some point. But yeah, that's
awesome. I think it's important, though, for CEOs and founders to really keep the passion projects in the early stage that keep, I have a few minutes. I'm just going to dive into something that really makes me feel fulfilled and almost forget about, for a second, all the other things.
100%. Like, sometimes you just want to, like, think for an hour on, like, what's a good newsletter to announce our, like, latest product or, Yeah, like, I really enjoy doing a lot of that. Or this morning, so I've started doing some more prospecting because it's good. Like one, it's good to prospect, and I think I get better responses than anyone else, so I should do it. Yeah. And then also because our tool is mostly used for prospecting, it's just good to like keep my head in it. And so I've been blocking off an hour every day for the last couple weeks, and it's like so nice to just kind of shut everything else out and then just be like, hey, I'm just thinking about sending LinkedIn messages and text and just like kind of being a little creative, like how can I get people to respond and making all the videos for it and all that. So
And I think an important part of all the interviews that I've done has been founder-led sales, and how keeping that momentum going for the sales team is just so useful, and so that totally makes sense. What's a startup that you're also following as you're going through your new journey as a startup founder or in your network? Who else are you watching?
Yeah. So I think the go-to-market space has been like so cool to see evolve over the last year and a half. And especially because I was a marketer before, right? So it's like, just, I love the space. And I think some brands that have done just a really good job of building stuff out, like Claya is amazing. And they just do such a good job too of constantly keeping the momentum up. It's like, you know, first they're everywhere, and then they raise a huge round, and then they're opening, you know, it's like, and they're doing these community events, like it's so impressive on the marketing side. I think like Smart Lead and Instantly both have done a great job of like building community, building really solid like outreach tech. And I like Adam Robinson, our B2B, like just the way that like we use their product, and we also use Warmly, actually, like we use both of them. I think just like the product's cool, and the way they're both building brands is really cool as well.
Right. I love that. All right. I got to end on the sappy question.
Oh.
What's your best advice for anyone in that early stage startup? At any level, you're just in that initial crew. I think
the thing to know is that at all times there's going to be more balls than you can hold up at one time. And so the real strategy comes from knowing which balls you need to keep in the air and which ones it's okay to drop. So like that's something you need to think about. Like, don't just do the quick things first, because they might be the ones you can drop. Like, you know, focus on the important things and prioritize. And also, if you have a team or co-founder or other people you work with, be really understanding that they are likely dropping balls. And that also goes, if you're a new hire who joins a startup, like it's really easy to be like, why haven't you been doing this before? And it's like, well, that's probably why you were hired. So, you know, just kind of be respectful of other people. And also that everyone's kind of trying to make these prioritization decisions, and, you know, don't lose sleep. And that's unique, right? Like my husband's a doctor. You can't drop balls. Like you need to make sure everything's good. But in fact, you're going to. It's part of the game.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Bethany, this was amazing. I am loving watching your brand and watching Sendspark just grow and blossom. So thank you so much for sitting down.
Thank you so much for having me. This was great.